let me know when it starts. I can't see.
Oh yeah, you're live now.
I'm live now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Movie Cast, Spoiler Cast, all of the cast. We're here. We're going to talk to you about Shang-Chi. So I am joined first by Mr. Chris Seeley,
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Tony Polanco,
What's going on, people?
and Mr. Richard Bailey Jr.,
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo, yo.
And again, I am your host, Dana. First, before we start this, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Vapor Rub. So thank you so much.
El Viva Peru, as we call it,
After all these videos, presenting that, we sure as hell deserve something.
Yes, we do.
Indeed. So we're going to talk to you about Shang-Chi. Those who don't know, it officially dropped on Disney Plus. What was it? Friday, actually,
Yes.
during Disney Plus Day. And this is a tale that I know Tony is excited for. So we're going to just start off with right off the bat. Please, Tony, give us kind of your quick thoughts.
As I predicted, I already forgot what the movie was about. Like, that's how kind of forgettable it is. The only thing, and this is the thing I'm gonna really focus on, because it's bugged the hell out. This is the thing that stuck with me. These are some of the worst special effects I've ever seen. They're terrible. I'm like, really? I've been talking to people on Twitter about it back and forth. They're like, oh, but Marvel movies always had special effects. Yes, they do, but they're usually okay. I'm not saying they're great. They're like, whatever, but this was like terrible. So, we'll get into that. But like for the actual movie, it was okay. It didn't leave a bad taste in my mouth like Black Widow did. It wasn't like offensively bad or anything. But there were some issues. Like there's some stuff I liked about it, right? We'll get into that. Some stuff that was good. Like 30% of it, I'm talking about the story was good. And then the other side of it, I'm like, what are we doing right now? What is this? But it wasn't bad. It was okay. I would actually say maybe the best of Phase 4, which is sad if you think about it, because Phase 4 has just been abysmally terrible to me. This movie's just okay. It exists, but literally probably by the end of this like podcast, I'll probably forget every plot point and I'll just remember the bad CG.
And this is the second movie, right, from Phase 4? If I'm not mistaken.
The other one was Black Widow.
Black Widow, yeah.
That
shouldn't have been Phase 4. Yeah,
that should have been Phase 2.
Endgame should have been the endgame of this shit. But anyway, go on. That's my thoughts.
Moving on, Mr. Carlos Romero.
I'm with Tony in a lot of that. What he mentioned. I think the movie is middle of the road MCU. I feel like there's a lot worse. I feel like there's a lot better. It's funny because I feel like I think the best Marvel stuff is soaring high, like, great movie level. The middle pack is like, they're all like, I can't really distinguish between all of them. They're like all like, if I try to rank Marvel movies and I just think of the middle of the roads, the Doctor Strange, the Ant-Mans, the Shang-Chi's, I feel like there's like no point to saying which one's better, because I feel they're all equally as offensive.
Yes,
to say the least. And yeah, it's just a decent middle of the road movie. I feel like the movie peaked too early. The best scenes were definitely at the beginning. It did take a direction that I honestly felt it was detrimental to the movie. At the second half, I was really surprised, and honestly, I know this is going to be a critique, especially from Tony. Well, at least I believe that's what he's going to say. But the humor I kind of enjoyed. It was corny as hell, but for some reason I liked it. It's I enjoyed the characters a lot. I actually Shang-Chi and the Aquafina character, I really enjoyed their chemistry. I thought the characters were pretty cool. The action at the beginning of the movie and the middle of the movie were really good. The CG part, I felt like that was kind of where it was like the line in the sand where it's like we decided to go from this movie to this movie, and I understand why they did it, because they're kind of digging deep into the lore, but I felt like it was in a good direction for the movie to take. So overall, there's good parts, there were bad parts, there were some enjoyable parts, and overall, middle of the road MCU for me.
Mm. All right. What about you, Mr. Seeley?
Well, I agree with Carlos. I thought this was an okay movie. It wasn't bad. Like I went in thinking like with low expectations, so it's not going to be good. But I thought that the action was done pretty well. I did like the fight on the bus. I did like the fight on the scaffolding and the building.
Yeah.
The green screen stuff looked terrible though. The intro scene with the monologue about Mandarin and how he's 1,000 years old and all that stuff. It was like he's in a field and he's supposed to be in like a mountainous region, and you could just tell he's sitting on a horse in a studio. It's like looked bad, especially like and I'll say this because like we just watched Dune and how beautiful that looked, and I could not tell, like this looked like they were in a desert. They filmed it practically for a lot of stuff, but how great that looked. So it just took me out of it. Was like there was so much CG, there was so much wire work, especially when they had to do the fight between Mandarin and his future wife, or the fight between him and Shang-Chi at the end, and there's just so much wire work and it just looked so fake. Um, and then what really took me out of it was like big dragons fighting in the air. It's like I don't know. So there it had good parts, but there's a lot of stuff that was just like no.
Ooh. All right then, Mr. Bailey Jr.
Well, let me start by saying this is becoming a very polarizing review thus far.
Oh.
So now to add my little bit of controversy, I will say this. I understand what Carlos's comment was earlier, but I have to say this. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, I think that will be the first movie in Phase 4 that actually is going to be above average. Only because it has to deal with so many different things.
Wait, so then that means Spider-Man sucks.
Well, I will say this. Tony Polanco made me very hesitant of Spider-Man now because of the concern
Never
of what
listen to
story.
Tony.
Well,
damn, Dana's like that.
I mean, here's the thing. If it's the story that Tony, because a lot of people, Tony and a couple other people are telling me if it's that same story from the comics with Mephisto, they're going to have an issue with the movie. So now I have to be a little cautious.
I'm going to say this though, Rich, not to cut you off here.
Yeah.
That is of a concern of mine, but I'm just literally basing off the trailer. I'm like, okay, so let me get this straight. Mm-hmm. So Peter Parker decides, hey, I don't want my identity out there anymore. Let me go to Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange hears this kid requesting this and goes, sure, I'll do it. Wink, wink. You know, like, yes. and then Peter Parker interrupts this spell. Mm-hmm. And he's supposed to be the master supreme sorcerer, and he gets disrupted by a fucking kid. If that is literally the plot, this movie's fucking dumb, you know. So I'm not even going. And then you throw in the Mephisto stuff because you know they're gonna do something. Maybe it's not gonna be Mephisto himself, but it's so stupid. I'm like this. So you may be right about Doctor Strange being the first good movie of the MCU, just because the premise of Spider-Man, at least for the trailers, is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. It is insultingly bad. You know, I'm like, how stupid do you think we are? You know, really?
Exactly.
Anyway, I'll rant about that when the actual movie comes out. You know, I'm going to be in that motherfucking spoiler. You know. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with all those points. So we'll see what happens. But in terms of the answer about this movie, I will say this. Dana, you and I recorded our Eternals review last week.
Jesus,
I definitely think this is better than Eternals, and I have to say that because I want to emphasize once again with Eternals, they try to do too much. You know, I don't like when Marvel does a movie and then they're trying to throw all these characters in here at once into a movie and for almost 3 hours long. You know, I don't like that. I like when they take their time to build up each character's individual storylines, all with what they did with Avengers. So in those regards, yeah, this was better than Eternals. And I will also say it felt like an MCU movie because of the connection at the very end with the end credits. Because Eternals, you wouldn't even know that this is in the same universe. Only when they mention certain characters and you never see them on camera, because again, they're not going to show those characters because they want you to focus on the new characters. But to get to what I wanted to say about this movie in particular, I agree with the CG being bad. The martial arts I thought was great. I don't think this is the best martial arts movie because I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, this is up there with all the great martial arts movies." I don't know what movie they were watching, but the martial arts was good, And as someone who is actually taking Taekwondo, I can tell you, yeah, they did a great job with the martial arts.
Well, that says that doesn't only say that. That also says don't mess with Richard Bailey Jr.
Oh yeah, well, I don't know, man. I'm getting old now. We'll see. I gotta stay up on my skills. But yeah, the storyline, the family storyline, which I'm pretty sure you'll also get into later. I actually didn't think that was bad storyline. It's a very tragic storyline, what happens to the mother and stuff like that. But for me, the issue with the movie is that the whole time it's just about Shang-Chi trying to find out what his true purpose is. And by the end of the movie, I still felt as though I didn't get that answer. Yes, he got his powers or what have you, but I did not feel like he went through a complete journey as a character. It gave you the starting point of it. And then at the very end, they say, okay, now you're a part of the Avengers. So to me, it was better than Eternals, but it's still, as everyone else has said, still a very much middle of the road type of movie, in my opinion.
To be fair, Eternals works as a standalone.
Yes.
So
yeah.
You do have that, even though we do know it ends up connecting to Blade and possibly Moon Knight.
Well, until I see Blade show up on camera, I'm gonna assume okay.
Audio.
We heard his voice. I need to see him to know it's real.
So we also have, in true Dominican fashion, extremely late, Mr. the son of Tony, Mr. Joey Polanco. So we were discussing our quick thoughts on Shang-Chi. What is your opinion?
I got in here in the middle of Rich's opinions. I think the martial arts movie they were watching was just the Iron Fist shows from Netflix.
Yeah. Oh, this was way better than that.
Oh yeah.
No, but this I was lucky to see this in the theater, but I did enjoy it. But the third act got way too. There was a dragon. Like it was a real dragon.
Two.
The biggest issues I had was both the dragon, the CGI, the overkill, and Aquafina. I'm not a big. I don't know if she was supposed to be the comedic relief, but overall, I did enjoy it though.
I thought that the movie worked best at home. I too saw it in theater. I wasn't bored by it, but I was like, I could have watched this at home. Why are you dragging me here?
And I haven't watched Eternals yet.
You're doing yourself a favor.
By the way, Dana, just on that point, I'm glad I didn't see this in the movie, so I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. Like, no, there's certain things. It's just, I understand what they were trying to do with the grand scope of things, and you have dragons, and it's really beautiful with that setting when they went to that garden thing. I felt that what they was trying to do was too much. They was trying to emulate. Remember Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and how beautiful their fight sequences are, and all of that was wire work. And I felt that they was trying to do that, but which is weird though. But it felt like their budget was half the size of the studio that did Crouching Tiger, which is weird. But it did not seem to work. It felt like it was too CG.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that, Dana, because like that's kind of what I felt like specifically during the first like 30 minutes. I was like, why does this look like a TV show? This doesn't look like a movie. You know, like going back to what Chris said, that was the first thing that struck me. Like you see, I'm just gonna call him Mandarin. I don't know what the fuck his name was in the movie. He's Mandarin, right? Mandarin shows up in this field. I'm like, what's up with this CG? Jesus. You know, like everything just looked bad and it just kept getting worse. I'm going to say this, though. I don't like that dragon stuff that happened at the end, but it at least looked good. You know, like it looked good compared to the other CG in the beginning. You know, like I'm just gonna jump on this now, man, because this bugged the fuck out of me. That sequence with the bus in San Francisco was terrible, right?
No!
I'm gonna break it down. The fighting was cool. The CG was bad. Watch The Rock, right? I'm talking about this from 1996. They had a similar chase sequence, right? All real cars. Everything's getting fucked up. All shot with real cameras. I'm like, you could do that instead you just did all this CG nonsense, you know? And I'm like, okay, this is how this movie's gonna be. And the CG just never really got up. I think the only reason the dragon stuff look good is because it was fake, you know. It's like because the truck was the bus, excuse me, was a real thing, you know. And then all this other stuff. I know I'm kind of just rambling right now, but it's like there's so much in there. The wire work was terrible. And here's the thing, and I think this may be just a Tony thing now, right? I think I'm done with fucking kung fu movies. I'm like, it's all just choreographed. Like, I'm like, where's the gritty shit? You know, like when you watch Daredevil, you're like, that's some raw, real shit. Yeah. Obviously, it's all choreographed too, right? But like, again, this is not a condemnation of Shang-Chi. I think it's just me personally. I think I'm done with these like wire work kung fu movies. Yeah, it's like this is too much right now, man. This is way too much. You know, it's like it doesn't feel raw and real. But I will say, yes, like you said, there have been other movies that do this same thing that do it way better. So this is not even the pinnacle of it. It's entertaining. It was cool. Like I could appreciate the artistry that goes behind the choreography. I get that. That's cool. But it's like, bruh, like half the fights I felt were pointless, you know, because I'm like, no one's really gonna hurt. This gonna go whoa, 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 and then back off if something's gonna happen, you know. So I don't know, man. I don't even know if you have a proper rundown of how you want to do this podcast, but I'm just going on a fucking rant.
You're like, I'm gone. I'm ranted.
But yeah, so I guess we can stick out with the special effects. They bug the fuck out of me, just the overabundant. And it's funny going back to Dune, right? That movie, remember, we were talking about on this same podcast, right? Carlos was like, "Oh, the special effects great." I'm like, "A movie had special effects? They look so good. They just naturally blended in. You didn't even realize it. This movie in your face every single time you're in front of a green screen. No exception. Look at it. Look, even that still right there. Look at the back. Look at the windows. Look at the windows. You could tell that's fake. You know, I'm like, come on, man, really?"
And I don't think that's a condemnation to just Shang-Chi. I think that's an MCU thing.
Exactly. You know, here's the not only to MCU, modern movies in general have this problem. So this isn't like a condemnation of Shang-Chi, but Shang-Chi to me, and again, because I'm coming, the last two movies I saw Dune, and then because I'm on that, I was like, I guess say I got some more Denny V shit. Watch Arrival. Great fucking movie, great special effects. Then I come watch this shit, which again, this movie, it exemplifies everything wrong with CG nowadays, man. It's like, and again, it's not specific on this movie that this movie does it worse. It does it as well, quote unquote, as every other movie, and that's the sad thing. It's like CG can look good. Dune proves it. What the fuck? Anyway, go on.
One crazy thing. That screenshot you had before the last one, if you could put that one back up.
The one inside the bus where Aquafina's big ass eyes. Yeah, that one right there. Yeah.
No, the other one.
Oh, the next one. Okay.
That one. So this is a good example of what you're talking about. So this shot right here, this was from the trailer. It's this shot is not there in the movie. In the movie, this fight is happening in a bridge. In a tunnel in the trailer.
Oh yeah, look at the tunnel. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when you could switch it off now, Dana. When you
sorry.
So when
You was pointing.
This happens in a lot of MCU movies where you see something in the trailer and then they'll just change the CGI when the final movie comes out, and it's like, okay, but the lighting and everything isn't matching, and that's why you have that off. But that's very odd. I see that in a lot of MCU movies.
Yeah.
Okay. Any thoughts? Anyone else about the bus and the fight sequences?
I did like the skyscrapers fight.
Oh yeah,
in the building
scaffolding kind of.
Yeah. I thought that was.
I like the idea of it, but I don't think it was done well. Again, it just too much CG made it look fake. You know, but I thought they actually, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think the idea of it, the lighting and all that, the location was really cool. I just think the fighting with a lot of this movie in general, it just didn't feel like visceral enough. You know. Yeah, but I think the actual location was that's cool. I liked all the different like locations where they had fights. That was good. I had no problem with that. But again, I think it might be just me. Yes, execution I didn't like. Too much CG, too much wire work. You know, yeah.
So can I make a quick comment?
Yeah.
Oh, I agree with what Tony said about the fighting in regards to Daredevil, because when you see the Daredevil show, anytime Charlie Cox was in a fight and he got his ass whooped, you felt that. You felt the impact of that.
And he couldn't breathe. There was moments where they beat him so bad he just couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
Yes. So I agree. That was a lot more visceral and a better use of combat. This movie is okay, I guess, to a degree. I just don't like the people that are acting as though, this is an excellent martial arts movie.
Oh, yeah, get out of here with that bullshit.
No,
you know?
I don't know what they're talking about.
By the way, just to be fair, I know, Carlos, you had to say something. Just to be fair, though, I'm not expecting this thing to be raw and gritty like Daredevil because it's a PG-13 movie, but you could still have a PG-13 movie where the fights feel like when you watch Winter Soldier, bro, those fights were legit, and that was a PG-13 movie, so you can't do it. But I don't know if it's because of the directing or because of just kung fu in general. Like, here's the thing: older kung fu movies didn't have that problem. It's more the newer ones where they rely too much on CG, too much wire work and stuff. Like I feel like after Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which was a great movie, I feel that's when kung fu movies started getting a little bit too wishy-washy. They were more raw back in the day, but not like stupid raw. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this movie is not the pinnacle. I think it's like you're right. Who said it? Joey, right? Like maybe this compared to Iron Fist, which is objectively terrible. That, oh my god, that was horrible fighting.
Well, one thing, you had the main lead at least wanting to train and to learn the actual fight.
That's a whole other. By the way, did we ever do an Iron Fist one? I feel like I've done a spoiler cast for that, but
we never did.
But I'm not to go off on a tangent here, but like main dude, there's this one scene, and I this is gonna sound weird, but stay with me, right? So this is one scene. He has sex with the girl, right? Wakes up, skinny ass body. I'm like, yo, bro, where's your muscles at, man? Like, come on. It looks like, because he also played Carlos, what's his name on Game of Thrones?
He played he played Stannis' love interest.
Me and Rich have the same face.
He's a
well, hold on.
I'm forgetting the name of the house. Anyway,
Rich, me and you have the same question.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, we do. Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so my thing is like, looks okay. In that season of Game of Thrones, the dude was like stuck in a dungeon, all emaciated and shit, no muscles whatsoever. So I'm like, did they just pull this dude off of that and just put him on Iron Fist? Where's your muscles at, bruh? It's like, what is this?
Okay, I have a question. Well, you go ahead, Joey, and then I'll.
No. Your question is my question.
Who is the person that you're talking about that had this sex scene? You're talking about the father of the. Well, who?
Iron Fist. I'm talking about
the Iron Fist. Okay, all right. Because I thought you were talking about, because we know
had sex with that Japanese girl and stuff he was training with.
Okay, yeah, because we know that Shang-Chi was friend zoned this entire movie.
Yeah, so I'm talking about Shang-Chi. I'm talking about Iron Fist. I'm talking about Iron Fist right now. At least Shang-Chi, when my man took his shirt off, like, okay, he's dieseled. Great. You actually look like you put effort into the role.
Yeah,
and we'll get into that later. The main actor, I don't know what his name is, but Shang-Chi himself, really good. I expected him to just be kind of like, I didn't expect much from him. I thought he was going to be like somebody, hey, look at me, I'm Shang-Chi, bunch of jokes and shit, typical Marvel stuff. The guy was good,
Yeah.
But my point is, like, at least he put effort into it, unlike the actor from fucking for my Iron Fist. My bro, you didn't even try. Look at the skinny ass arms, bro. You ain't no martial artist.
All right. Well, I know Carlos was actually going to say something earlier, so I hopefully we did not disrupt him. But let me just make a quick comment before we get to Carlos. I agree with what you said, Tony. The actor's name is Simu Lee, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did a good job, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I think the father actor was clearly way. He's a far better actor, far better for the character he played. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, he was the best actor. Yeah, he's the best. By the way, I know some Chinese viewers or whatever, in China, they wanted the father to be Shang-Chi, but I'm like, he's too old, man.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, I agree with their sentiment, but he's too old. You know what I'm saying? But that guy was easily the best actor in the whole movie.
He's literally the entire reason I saw this movie.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Been a fan of
Well,
him since the
I,
90s.
I have some comments about
Well,
the sister
Joey.
later, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I was like, it should have been the sister that should have been the reason. But
No, this dude in overseas, the guy's a superstar overseas.
Yeah, guy's dope. Guy's dope.
yeah, I felt like I understand the criticisms with the CG, and I guess maybe that's just to my detriment that I'm used to it already. But I guess I did enjoy the bus and the scaffolding scenes. I felt like that was the best part of the movie. That and just the characters themselves. But yeah, I enjoyed those parts. I felt like I enjoyed that more than the Dragon Ball Z stuff.
Okay. Anyone else has anything to add about that?
Yeah.
Nope. Okay.
Well,
We hope.
I did have well, besides Tony pointed out the fight on the bus, I did have a problem because when you know I don't know if you ever tried to grab broken glass but it hurts.
Yeah.
So when he's like swinging outside of the bus, like when the knife guy broke the glass and he
Mhm.
grabbed on, and I was watching it with Kristen, and she's like, "Did he just grab broken glass?" I'm looking at it, and then when he jumped back in the bus, you could see the jagged glass. Well, I'm like, wow, that martial arts training is great. He didn't even cut his hands or nothing.
Yo, Chris, them calluses though.
You know?
Yeah, punching wood for 6 years does wonders for you.
I think one of the biggest issues I had with this movie was there was never a scene, especially during fight scenes or whatever. There was never a scene where I'm like, he doesn't got this. Like he can't handle himself. Like he's gonna win.
Yeah,
there was never a fight where I'm like, all right, he's in real trouble now. No, he got
you never felt like he was in danger for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what the best villains do. Like Thanos, like you actually believe like he can actually win, and he kind of did.
Yeah.
But in this movie, I guess it was, I don't know if it helped or hurt the movie, but the villain, you never felt like he actually was there because the villain was the dad, and the dad, he was more of an antagonist than he was a villain. And you just never seen like he was like there was any threat, and the threat came as the freaking the kaiju looking thing, and even to the and this is one bad part of the movie, even to the part where the association, the 10 Rings Association, when they just decided to fucking switch sides because the Shinobu dude got fucking Shang Tsung took his fucking soul and shit. And I'm like, I was like, okay, so I guess we're friends now. And I'm like, okay, that just seemed that turn just was way too 180 for me.
Yeah, I agree.
So does Ben Kingsley's character get to live in Shangri-La over there now?
Yeah.
Is he automatically in?
I'm not gonna lie. I know it's corny as hell. I actually liked his character. I don't know. I just I like the part where he was lying dead. It's stupid, but it was funny to me for some reason.
Ooh, wow. I didn't like that.
Yeah, I know nobody else agrees, but
yeah, no.
That's
fucking whack.
That's funny. I thought he was better in comic relief than that.
I was stupid. You're in the middle of this big ass fight, and they just have this little corny scene. I'm like, come on, man, what is this shit? You know,
that was their attempt to try and correct when we saw that Mandarin character show up in the Iron Man movie.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that's what it was about. Yeah.
Joey, was you going to add something?
No, I was saying. So what Carlos was saying about Ben Kingsley. Even I enjoyed the movie, but I'm not going that far. Enjoy that. Because once I saw him, like there were people, that's like it was like one big sigh, like, oh damn, he's here.
Oh gosh. So overall, did anyone kind of like the plot itself, where you had the father determined that his wife was not murdered, even though we all saw the body, and that she was actually trapped away in I guess the cave area, and he was hearing the voices
beyond the wall. Yeah.
Beyond the wall. And somehow Shang-Chi was sent away, and we never really got a backstory about that, but more like he was friends.
I had a problem with the with Mandarin hearing voices, hearing his wife, and scared to go to the wall. When he's beating up Shang-Chi and he's like, "Oh, you let your mother die and whatever." There's a key point here. There's a disconnect in logic. You know your wife is dead. Yet you claim to be hearing her voice, and you're just like, "Oh, she's just trapped behind a wall." These two things do not jive together. You have
Mhm.
to either accept that she's dead, or say that she is alive, but she's somehow her people shoved her across the sea into a giant door in a mountain.
Well,
These
Chris, he's
what
he's
you have to
he's
pick one.
he's losing his mind. You know, he's carrying 10 rings. Frodo only
No,
had to deal with one.
Heh.
You know,
right,
it's
but
Oh,
here's the problem. I did like that the actor, Tony Leung, who played
You
Mander,
better.
but I didn't.
You
That
better.
he did not convey that he was losing his mind. At no time was I like, this guy is out of control or whatever. He had the same tone from the start of the movie to the end. He was just this kind of stoic character. You know, he was kind of cold. Even when he had his redemption and he met his wife and he's raising his kids, I never got the impression that he softened at all, even though he was supposed to like have given up the 10 rings and then he starts it up again. He was always the same. So when he's hearing voices and stuff, he didn't act any different. He wasn't like drooling or he grew his hair or his beard, or like you do something to show like, hey, this guy's losing it. But he doesn't do that. All he does is the giant guy with the knife hand just kind of acknowledges like,
Razor
hey, he's
kiss.
acting a little weird.
the right hand man without the right hand. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I don't think like I didn't get any vibe that he was crazy. It just seemed like, oh, my wife's soul is trapped on the other side of this thing. I need to go get her. That's how I got it. So yeah, he was definitely in control. But you're right about that. It's like, okay, either she's there or she actually died. Which is it, bro? And also blaming a 7-year-old kid or whatever for wife's dead. That's pretty stupid. That's
I mean,
pretty dumb.
yeah.
You know?
Where the hell was he?
Yeah, that's what I'm
The
saying.
guy
Like,
was
yo,
just
bro,
saying.
where you at? And my thing, but I gotta say this because this what threw me off. So these dudes just roll up. These dudes from Yakuza just roll up right at the compound. I'm like, you don't have any security, bruh. It's like
Yeah.
I understand you gave up the rings, right? But you've been living for 1,000 years. You probably have a lot of fucking money, so you couldn't have any security guards, like at your little compound or something. So that kind of threw me off a bit. I'm like, why? It's like, how you gonna blame your son when you were off gallivanting doing whatever the
Yeah.
fuck you were doing? And why didn't you buy security guards with all the money you've been making for 1,000 years?
But that's my other problem, because when he decides to go get vengeance, like he goes and kills those guys in a restaurant,
Yeah,
we're
I enjoy
supposed
that.
to assume immediately he hires all his guys back and he starts training his son to be a killer, right?
yeah,
It's like, but where were those guys? Like,
yeah. Where
why
were
didn't
they?
you
Yeah,
have one or two of them at the house? Like, he had nobody. He just like, oh, I'm a man of peace now, and it doesn't make any sense.
go ahead, Rich.
It was their day
Can,
off.
can I? So as a writer for Marvel, I would like to defend Chris's comment and say that well, we wanted to tell this story that the guy falls in love, meets his wife, and he's supposedly a changed man. But we failed to fully tell the story and show that, because as you said, Chris, and this is me now, I'm not the writer anymore. Yeah. I really think that I agree with what you said. They should have really emphasized and showed that he actually was a changed man, because it jumps back and forth between the present and the past, and it doesn't really fill in the blanks in terms of showing you the character has actually changed. Just you see he has kids now and a wife. That's it. You don't get a sense of how he acts with other characters and stuff, that he's changed in any way, shape, or form. But you do see the minute he finds out she's dead, oh, this is it. We must get revenge immediately. My son, you will take out this act because I want you to do what I can't do myself. So, yeah.
Mr. Joey Jr.
No. I agree.
Oh.
I agree. I thought it was to my understanding that he was training his son for afterwards he can pass on the 10 rings to him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, which was the reason he was training him. But yeah, no, but I agree. Yeah, the bodyguard said they had a day off that day. So that's what happens. They just they planned it all out.
I'm kind of disappointed they didn't actually show the fight. Even though we knew the outcome, it would have been cool to see her just kick ass one last time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they should have shown several things like, and to add to Rich's point about the writers dealing with him being a changed man, he should have closed that compound and had a little house somewhere
Yeah.
where I could believe that, like Tony said, the Yakuza rolls up. They walked up that mountain.
Yeah. Yeah,
We
exactly.
later, when
What?
we see them escaping, they're racing out of there in their fancy BMW, and he's up on a giant mountain that you have to take a helicopter like you are flying to Jurassic Park. But somehow these guys can just walk there. You know, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that made no sense at all.
The property taxes are lower there, though.
Like, it felt very contrived. Like, oh, we need. How did she die? It seemed like an afterthought. You're like, oh yeah, these yakuza rolled up, you know. And we know they're not yakuza. They're probably like triad or something, you know. But it's like, come on, man. Like how they roll up there. They could have at least said, oh, these guys stormed the compound. They killed a bunch of people, you know. But instead, they just rolled up like, hey,
Yeah.
look at us. We just showed up on this mountain. You know,
that would have been a better way to, like, let's say they did have security guards in like a community there, and then they all just got massacred.
Exactly, you know. And again, PG-13 movie, you don't have to show the super massacre, but it's like you can show them getting taken out. You know, it's like, oh, I'm dead. You know, like come on.
That is very true. Was there any kind of standout character? I know we kind of touched on the dad, but other than the dad, was there?
I gotta say this.
Yeah.
That sister, you could literally take her out of the plot and it wouldn't change anything. The only thing that would change is like he doesn't have to fight with Abomination. She brought nothing to this movie. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm like,
she saved Aquafina.
She saved, yeah, that's the only thing. But I was, yeah, her. You know, I was thinking about this one. I'm like, she didn't. Aside from the ending, you know, the post-credit scene, there's nothing to her. She didn't bring anything to the role. You know, they could. I don't understand why they have her. Like maybe she's. I don't read Shang-Chi comics, so I don't know. Like maybe that you know she's in the comics too. But I'm like, what was the point of having her in this movie? The only thing I could think of, you know, maybe one of you answer was like, because you know, they do this a lot, man. They have this like one Chinese character that's really big in China, or actor, excuse me, and they got to put them in the movie to fill like the contractual role and stuff. Like maybe that was the reason, but apparently this was our first movie, so that can't be the reason either. So I don't understand the inclusion of her. I'm not saying she was bad; she was cool. You know, she has a good fight scenes or whatever. But I'm like, just think about it objectively. Like she didn't really bring anything to the story, not really, other than you know, the necklace part, the other part of it. But they could have just done that with one. You know, I don't know. So what do you guys think about Shang-Chi's sister?
Yeah, I know later on she becomes a villain. Later on, she becomes Sister Hammer.
Okay.
So I feel like they added her here to kind of give her like a small introduction to kind of give her a bigger role in the sequel.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, she's from the comics. That's fine. I can let it slide. But it's like in the within the context of the movie, she's not doing much. It just seemed like, oh, let's put her in here to set up some other shit later. You know.
I guess it would have been weird if like they went on with the movie and then later say like, oh, Shang-Chi had a sister that you was never
that would have been weird.
Yeah. So
okay,
I did like the scene. Yeah, I did like the scene with her and Michelle Yeoh, where you know she was saying like, you know, my dad didn't allow me to train with them and whatever, and I could do everything like them. So I was like, all right, that was cool.
That what you just said, Joey, is exactly why her story is in here, because she again wasn't allowed to train, and of course they did not want to make, you know, I'm pretty sure her father didn't want her to be the one that was going out into the field, getting into all these fights and stuff. So they purposely wanted to make that a part of the story to show you this is her empowerment to elevate to that level where she can do her own thing. That's why I felt it was in there. But yeah, I agree with what Carlos said earlier, because he said that was what that's another reason to watch the movie. He talked about the actress. That's the reason to watch. Yeah, I agree, Carlos.
Yeah. I'll just agree and then mention. I think her purpose at the beginning was to serve for Shang-Chi to actually leave where it was San Francisco where he was in. And go to the, you know, to her, you know, to look for her and stuff for, you know, the necklace thing. I mean, obviously a lot of the characters other than Shang-Chi and the dad, I'm guessing, are the only ones that actually had any, you know, weight to the story because that's what the story's revolved around. The other characters just served you know, a purpose to move along the story. Like the sister is used to progress from San Francisco to wherever they went. You know, Aquafina is the not only the character relief, but she's also the person that she's like the person thrown from the middle of nowhere into this place to help, you know, under like for the viewers and the audience to understand what the hell's going on. The exposition kind of character.
Yeah, she's the proxy character. You know.
Yeah.
By the way, because I don't know who this Aquafina person is, right? But when I saw her in the movie, I was like, she's a comedian, right? Like she just has that look.
Yeah, she.
You know what I'm saying? Like you could tell that, you know, like homegirl Shang-Chi. I'm like, okay, that's an actress. There's the comedian. Okay, I got it. You know, you could just tell visually. You know. By the way, I have to say this, Carlos, before you go on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Her shooting that arrow and kills the dragon. That was fucking corny. You saw it coming a mile away. Like, oh, Aquafina's gonna shoot the fucking arrow. Here we go. Oh my god. Anyway, go ahead.
Can I make a quick comment before you go to Carlos? I agree that was corny. Once again, plot device because they want to show you this character has evolved. Because the whole thing is that she didn't have any direction in her life, didn't know what she wanted to do. So I guess they wanted to give her a purpose because she's a part of fighting in this battle. So that was the whole reason why that was added to the storyline. I don't know what her future is in the terms of the comics or whenever if they have another Shang-Chi, but I think that's what it was in this particular movie.
Yeah. And I just want to say that I want to give a shout out to Shang-Chi and her, because I feel like they had better chemistry than most of the romantic couples in all the MCU movies.
Yeah.
Hulk and Black Widow, or they're just like, yeah, we're hot, so I guess we have to love each other. Like these guys were strictly friend zone, and they had way more chemistry than all these dudes.
I'm not going to disagree with that. Because even though whatever about Aquafina, I don't think she was that funny. Yeah, like it was pretty natural by the end, you know. And it's still up in the air. You don't know for sure what's going on with them. You know? But yeah, no, I agree. They had good chemistry, even though some of that banter was too fucking corny, though. You know, like especially in the beginning, I'm like, what is this, a sitcom right now? What's going on here? You know.
I'll make a prediction based off of what Tony just said. Shang-Chi will be friend zoned for a while, moving forward, and then and to whatever other movies he's in, that's what it looks like to me. But we'll see what happens.
Remember, he's part of the whole gang, so he may end up with someone else, Florence Pugh or someone.
Wait, who?
The girl
Florence? Oh no! Don't get Joey mad. Don't get Joey mad.
Oh, that's Joey. His wife right there.
No, now I had a question after I saw Shang-Chi. So like this was one of the few MCU one of the few movies that did martial arts fighting to a point. You did have the Winter Soldier, which Chris Evans is no longer here and stuff. In the future movies, you have Shang-Chi fighting. How would that look like? You're going to be fighting like CGI characters. How's that going to look?
He's got the rings.
Well, true, but even with the rings, it looked like a form of dance. But like,
so I guess
how is that going to look like when he's fighting like an average Joe? Like,
yeah, I don't know. I guess they're going to have to keep pairing him with like other kung fu people so they can keep that going. You know what I'm saying?
But like even Captain America, both him and Falcon, when Falcon became Captain America, they fight down in the ground, and they're just, you know, he can fight a Captain America, and that'll make sense the way they fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
no, true, but Captain America is no longer here.
Yeah, but
no, he's here.
There's other people that can fight on that level, though. You know,
he's just a different flavor now.
Yeah, exactly.
He's no longer here. Joey sound like he's dead. He's gone.
No, he ain't dead. He's retired, you know.
he gone. He gone.
He's gonna fight John Walker now, you know.
Well, first of all, there's Captain America is not dead. He's just old and crusty.
Yeah.
So put some respect on his name. Second of all, there is another Captain America, and his name is Papa Doc.
But I feel like he's gonna be flying more.
Well, in Captain America 4, they said he has to still earn the right to be Captain America.
By the way, I'm sorry to go off on a tangent.
Uh-oh.
What the fuck? Like, okay, he got the
He's black. They're
shield.
treating him like a black man.
No, but I'm like, okay, he got the shield. He got the shield in Endgame. I'm like, that's it. He's Captain America. We're done here. Then they had an entire TV series where he has to earn it. I'm like, what do you mean he has to earn it? He got the shield. And now they're saying for Captain America 4, he's going to earn the shield. Like,
he had to earn it within himself within the TV show. And then now he has to own it with the white man.
Well, you know,
but you know what I'm saying, Dana? I'm like, to me, I'm like, he earned it. The instant he got the shield, that's it.
Black Captain America.
You're Captain America. Now do your thing.
Well,
it was over. You know.
So I think I think y'all missed the after credit scene because he went back to that bank to try to get a loan and still got denied.
It
still wasn't
still
enough.
black. You still black? No. Anyway, let's go back to Shang-Chi.
Okay,
just real quick about just to cover what Tony mentioned real quick.
Yeah.
I agree that he earned the Captain America title when the actual Captain America gave him the title. Second of all, I think the TV show was just him doubting himself.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it was more based on. But and then the perception of him being Captain America. They wanted this, this blonde, tall white dude that that looked like the other one. But yeah.
We saw how that worked out,
Oh yeah, I like his character, man. He's one of the best.
John
MCU
Walker's
characters.
fucking awesome. Yeah, I love that guy. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Anyway, go on to Shang-Chi.
Okay, so Shang-Chi. Let's kind of go on to the after credits, which was slightly touched upon. Did it make you interested in anything? A TV? I know Marvel loves TV series. So
I'm gonna be 100% honest. I forgot everything about the after credit endings.
All right, I'll give you a quick rundown. So basically, the first, because there's two of them, right? So the first one is
I know the second one.
They go with Wong, right? They go to I guess Doctor Strange's, whatever, and they're like, oh, there's some kind of like, I guess like a transmitter in the rings, and they had Hulk and Captain Marvel there. They're like, yo, do you know what these things are? They're like, we don't know what the fuck that shit is. And then Carol had to go to the bathroom or something. She's like, I gotta go by, and then Hulk's like, I gotta go too. It's like, wait, what? So and then Wong's like, oh, get ready, your lives are gonna be completely different. I want to know what that beacon is. Like, what are we setting up here?
Well, I don't know if it was because I know that the 10 rings are actually a beacon, but we don't know what it is that's trying
we don't know.
to
Are they calling the Celestials down?
Maybe.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. By the way, before we get on there, just real quick, just to go back a little bit, got to talk about the CG fight. It's like I don't understand, and maybe this is just my comic bookness. I'm like, why couldn't that dweller in darkness be Fing Fang Foom or somebody we actually recognize?
Yeah, that's what I thought it was going to be. And then it has tentacles and it sucks out your soul for power.
Yeah, that was weird. I'm like, why couldn't it just be Fing Fang Foom? And also the other thing, I was thrown off in the beginning because he's like the 10 rings. So I'm like, oh, 10 rings. And then he has these like armbands. I'm like, the 10 rings are supposed to be on your fingers, not on your arms. But the way they used the rings was actually pretty cool. So, it's like, like he was using them to like levitate himself and like do all these other things. And plus it visually was cooler than just 10 rings on your fingers or whatever. But I was throwing off like, those aren't rings, those are arm like thingies, bro. What are you talking about?
Those are live strong bands.
What they call like mood, like not mood rings, like those.
Mood rings.
Yeah, they are mood rings. Like what I'm saying, you put them on your wrist. I'm like, he has
change
beacon.
That's why they turn gold. They're copper for his arthritis.
Yeah.
No, I'll say this after. I'll say this is too much. This is too
make it. Again, but just before we get to the after credits, yes, it's like because you're right. I think we all have the same sentiment with that last third of the movie. I'm like, why are we going to this fantasy land? Like
it was really jarring.
Yeah, because to me, the best part of the movie was the stuff with him and his father, right? Like all the times they did the flashback, I'm like, this is dope. And it's funny during those scenes, I'm like, yeah, this is actually a really good movie. Then they go into the present, I'm like, here we go with the corny shit again. So I think it would have been really cool. I know they're not gonna do this because it's gotta be Marvel, gotta be this big spectacle or whatever. But I would have really liked it if the final battle was just him and his father having like an actual kung fu fight. Fuck the magic. Like, it would have been dope. Like, yo, the rings ain't working right now. We got to do this the real way. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, he's like, I'll show you what I've learned from you, father. Some shit like that. It would. I think that would have been better than having. Yeah, it's like instead of having like a bunch of CG people in the background fighting and shit, dragons flying around everywhere. Like, why couldn't you have it be more of an intimate story? Because this story already felt so disconnected from the MCU. I'm like, okay, let's go ham on that. Let's cut some of the CG stuff out and really focus on the family aspect, which I thought was the best part of it. All the actors, even Homegirl, who I thought could have probably came out, she still did good too. You felt it, but it's funny. It's like, because I was almost treated as a side story. I'm like, that's more interesting than like, oh, here comes this evil monster to destroy everything, And then Dana, real quick, because I gotta, you and I were texting about this. That forest, what the fuck? That was so bad. The CG in that,
Yeah, it's
Well,
hard.
And the mountains.
Oh, whoa.
Oh,
That's a little ridiculous, man. Look at that. Look at that. Look like
the
about
hedge
to be-
maze, that you mean the one that's perfectly paved so you can do like
Yeah, like
transporter
really-
through it?
Yeah, it's like you should do it perfect turns and shit. I'm like, what? But my main problem was this CG in it. Like, this looks terrible.
Oh,
All right.
Go ahead, Rich.
Real fast, and then we'll go back to Carlos. I agree with everything you said, Tony, about that fight and how it should have been just the father and son, because the way they marketed this movie, it was, it's going to be Shang-Chi versus his father.
Yeah.
And then when you see the movie, what the hell is up with this dragon? So I agree. Yes, that's what should have been the focus between the father and the son. So
yeah, because that was the best aspects of the movie when they focused just on, like, this is dope. This is really actually really good. Because again, the actors brought their A game, both of them. But then, like, oh no, you could just tell, like, a studio executive, we need dragons. This Chinese movie, we need dragons.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna mention. That was my, because it was so jarring just going from the real world into that other dimension, which, by the way, looked way better than the Godzilla dimension. Look, the King Kong dimension. That one looked horrible. This one looked bad, but yeah, it's the whole thing that they did. It's like, oh, we're digging into the Chinese lore.
Yeah.
And we're gonna, Shang Long has to fucking appear, so we're gonna, we gotta have something that can fight. And that's why they did it. But it hurt the movie, in my opinion.
Agreed.
And it went from fucking Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon to fucking Pacific Rim, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? It was crazy, man. I just didn't. It was so fucking jarring. I'm like, this doesn't. And it's unfortunate, man, because the dad was really good, and I wish, like, he had a better chance to just, like, fight up with Shang-Chi.
Yeah, it would have been better if it was just like more of a straight up, like, kung fu movie than having all this other, like, stuff in there, And there's the other thing I was confused by, because they never explained, where do these people get their powers from? Like, the people in the village, like, where are they getting these special powers from?
Well,
are they mutants? Are they inhuman? What the fuck are they?
Also, they craft everything out of dragon scales, and I was like, where are they getting those from? Does the Great Protector?
That's when the Great Dragon sheds. When he
he sheds over them. Like, they were shocked when he came out of the lake, right? So I'm like, wait a minute, then where are you getting the dragon scales from? Doesn't he come and, like, scratch every so often, and you just, like, pick them up and make your arrows?
What does he, like, do? Like, lizards molt, right? Is that insects? But you know what I'm talking, when they shed their skin, like, maybe he does that every 7 years.
Yeah,
like,
snakes do that.
Yeah, so it's called molting too for them? Because I know insects.
I don't know if it's called that,
but you know what I'm talking about. It's like every 7 years, like, so maybe he's like, dragon, he's shedding this. Get the shit right now.
Let's go.
Also, by the way, one of my friends said this, our boy Mike, Carlos and Chris, you know what I'm talking about. He was like, why couldn't they use an actual, like, big puppet head for the dragon when he comes down? That would have been at least a little bit more,
because then it would look like Never Ending Story and not a Marvel movie.
Yeah, but I'm like, imagine if they would have done this movie with Never Ending Story, it probably would have looked better, It probably would have looked a lot better. It's just too much. Can we have some practical shit? I was thinking about this too, not to get too sidetracked. Episode 1, remember when episode 1 came out? Everybody's like, too much fucking CG, too much CG. That CG is more conservative compared to this shit. Because at least with that movie, corny as it is, I'm not defending that fucking movie. That movie is actually pretty bad. But at least they filmed an actual sets for the most part. They shot some CG stuff. They had camera angles that a human can actually replicate. You know, like, and we've lost that. And again, this is not a combination of Shang-Chi. This is what's wrong with every modern CG movie or CG based movie, where the CG is the like centerpiece instead of being the complement like it's supposed to be. Look at Dune again. You don't. It's not in your face. It's just there. That's the way CG is supposed to be. And this movie just went all in with that. I zoned the fuck out. I really did. During that big Shenlong fight, I'm like, all right. Tell me when this is over. This is fucking dumb right now, Carlos. You know what it reminded me of, man? It gave me PTSD of The Hobbit, man. Especially the
Oh
second one.
yeah.
Like, oh, here we go. Here we fucking go. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when they're running on the back of Shenlong while he's flying. Like, physically, you can't do that. You get thrown right off. You know? Are they like magnetically sealing to the dragon as they're running? You know? It's insane. But again,
those rings are mag safe, man.
Yeah, yeah, they are mag safe. They just click right in. You know? Anyway,
it was too drastic. It was too drastic of a change because, like, the first act, you have him in his dead end job, struggling with his coworker. 2 hours later, we got dragons. It's like, all right, cool,
like, how does this work?
Wait, it's like too fast.
Yeah. Anyway, anything
you
else?
still predicting about the
We
beacon?
just went off.
Yeah, we were talking about the beacon.
Yeah, beacon. Yes.
So-
I don't know. I don't know what that can mean. Go ahead.
So I think we kind of already covered. We covered villains. There really wasn't any, except for like that big dragon. The father
Yeah.
wasn't really a villain. So
No,
overall,
he wasn't. You're
like,
right about that. Yeah.
No,
But, yeah.
he
And
wasn't.
then the other post. I don't know if that's going to be in a show or whatever. But
Yeah,
his
the other
sister
post.
she becomes the Mandarin. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I call back. Oh, it's girl Mandarin now. Cool.
Sister Hammer.
You know. Yeah. So yeah, Sister
Yeah.
Hammer. Cool. That's fine. You know.
I'm
That's cool. Hammer man. Hammer.
And I loved how they made, like, during the marketing and the commercials, we thought Abomination was going to be something.
He was there for like 2 seconds. You know.
2 seconds.
And it
Like,
was actually him too. They Kwan calls him Emil. That's his name. Emil. Forget his fucking last name, but it was like, oh, it's him. But he actually looks like Abomination now because remember in the Hulk movie, the Edward Norton one, he didn't look like Abomination. He was like this big, like uglier Hulk or whatever. Emil Blonsky, that's his name. But it seems like that is a setup for the She-Hulk show. You know.
mm.
It's crazy. We're talking about the marketing, and this is very random, but like when Marvel movies come out with these like crazy posters and trailers and stuff like that, and I look at this poster and it's just him just standing there.
Yeah.
And it's like the
Yeah, you're
most
right about
basic,
that.
plain stuff. I'm like, this is you just standing there. That's it. Take a picture. All right, Photoshop it. We're done. Let's go. Print. Like the poster behind this right here.
Portrait
was
mode.
him
You know. Yeah.
Well, they didn't want any side characters they could potentially take out in some certain posters.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know. Oh man.
And it was also really interesting. There's an actress named Jade, I think I'm pronouncing it wrong, Jade Wu, who is part of Black Widow. Remember that movie? And she was Helen, and they never touched upon it. Like, they had random characters from other movies that they just never mentioned.
Don't mention it again in 6 years.
In 6 years.
Yeah, like they did with Ben Kingsley. Yeah, we're gonna come back to that. That's what they're doing.
That was something else with that other storyline. But yes. So are there any kind of like final thoughts? I think we touched upon everything with this movie.
Yeah, like I mentioned at the beginning. Oh, good.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Like I mentioned in the beginning of the show, it's just a middle of the road movie. This is not something that it's going to be too memorable. It's not something that I'm going to think this isn't the Dark World for me. This is in Iron Man 3. But like Doctor Strange, like Ant-Man, like Guardians of the Galaxy 2, they're just movies that exist in the ether, and then that's all the purpose they're going to serve for the most part. And yeah, I thought it was just okay.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, I
thought,
agree with everything Carl said. It was very middle of the road. No, there was nothing like horrible about it. Nothing great. It was just there. I mean, aside from the CG, that was fucking terrible. But I'm talking about story wise. It was okay. Wasn't bad. I thought it was going to be worse, to be honest. But I'm like, okay, this is it's there. The characters were good. I like them. Even Aquafina, she was okay. She served her purpose. I still think her name is weird, but whatever. But the main thing the only thing I just did not like at all. Borderline hate. It's just that CG. But again, the problem is it was so much with Shang-Chi. It's just modern movies in general. They do this stuff over reliance on CG. And like, can we like look at Christopher Nolan? Look at Denny V. Look at the way those guys do fucking special effects in their movies, where they're just so well integrated. You know, like I would be nice if we go back to that. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, movie is just okay. Here's the thing with me, like, I don't know, like, I objectively I know there are worse Marvel movies, right? Like, but the thing is, like, I did like this movie more than there's gonna be controversial right here, you know.
Oh,
Because my least favorite Marvel movie is Thor Ragnarok. I do not like that movie because I feel it betrayed the character, made it jokey and shit. At least this one didn't make me go, "What the fuck is this shit?" Thor Ragnarok, the first 5 minutes, like, what the hell are they doing? You know, at least with this one, it wasn't like that, except for the CG. But objectively speaking, it is middle. It is better than some of the like the actual objective ones, you know, bad objective ones like the Thor Dark World. Even though I liked it, I recognize it's not a good movie. Iron Man 2, I actually didn't like that movie. To be honest, I didn't like Iron Man 2 or 3. To be honest, 3 was a little better than 2, but I didn't. Yeah, I think Iron Man 2 is probably still my least favorite. Give me bid, give me bid. Like, come on, bro, what is this shit? You know. And ironically enough, Carlos, that's the one that had Mandarin in it, right? It was that one.
No, it was Iron Man 3.
Yeah, it was
Iron Man
3.
3 had, yeah. Yeah, middle of the road,
Well,
middle of the road. That's
so
all.
Tony, you're saying controversial things. I'll say controversial things.
Oh, Age of Ultron. I know you hate it, man.
Oh no, I wasn't gonna. That's a given. That's set in stone. That's in definitive. That's in the Rosetta Stone. Age of Ultron is F tier MCU
Damn.
for me. More like the Minute of Ultron. That's
I do not condone those comments. Anyway,
it's like if I want to read Pinocchio lyrics, I'll read the book. I like this movie better, and obviously, you know, there's the Iron Man 2 and 3s, there's the Guardians 2, there's the Doctor Strange, Ant-Man 2, and then the Wasp. They're all you know really either bad or middling of the road. I like this movie. Listen closely. I like this movie better than Captain America: The First Avenger.
I thought he was going to say Winter Soldier. We have to fight. You know?
I know.
No.
I got.
Yeah, Chris.
I don't like Captain
America. To hear this.
I don't like the first Captain America movie. I just don't like it.
I think it's great, but that's the story for another day. You know,
like speaking of CG, that whole body, the CG body, I'm like that shit looked awkward as fuck. Skinny Evans. Yeah, but
that was pre-Marvel Studios money.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was a good special effect though. Like it looked good. You know, like I wish we get more special effects like that. Like kind of like Lieutenant Dan where they cut off his legs. You know the legs are there, but they remove them. Like I thought that was actually a very well done special. Like maybe he looked weird like that because you know what Chris Evans is supposed to look like. But I thought that was a great special effect. Like can we get more like that instead of a fucking dragon everywhere? You know.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to think of a word that's not offensive.
Oh.
But the way Chris Evans looks before the super serum, he looks like he's sick.
Oh yeah, he definitely does look sick. They over exaggerated it. Let's just be real here, you know. Yeah. But I think the actual special effect was good. He looked like he belonged in the scenes, you know. But that's because there was an actual actor there, not just fucking green screen everywhere. You know,
the purpose and like you're talking about purpose of the movies and stuff and characters. I'm like the only purpose of the first Captain America is just to get Winter Soldier. Because Winter Soldier, I mean, obviously Winter Soldier's top tier.
Goat.
Oh yeah.
No, with me, I enjoy that. I like the that the Simu Yu. I'm sorry, I'm not pronouncing his name right. I'm glad that he. You know, I was worried because he's like a fresh face, and we didn't know how he was gonna, turn out. But
TV show.
No, yeah, he's been in other TV shows. I'm saying like in this role as Shang-Chi, it's like, oh, okay, cool, like, all right.
Yeah, they didn't get Scarlett Johansson to do Shang-Chi.
Oh,
yeah. They she was busy. She was busy. But like in terms, like, it was. I thought it was good, except for that third act that went crazy. It comes to the point, like I know, like many people online is like, oh, this is here, or number 2, or number 3, or whatever. All these movies are starting to be so different from each other. It's hard to compare them to others. This isn't this isn't Winter Soldier. This isn't that golden era of top tier, I think we passed that. Everything after that, I think nothing's gonna top that first. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed it, but it's not like the Raid Redemption or
Well,
anything
No.
crazy.
Joey,
This is not.
Joey, didn't you listen to the podcast earlier? There's a prediction by Mr. Richard Bailey Jr. saying that the new Doctor Strange movie is going to be the greatest movie of all time.
Wait, whoa.
He's like this, and I quote,
Let's
"This is
rewind
the greatest movie of this is the greatest movie of the phase of our lives."
Yeah, you
Well,
bugging.
I wasn't for that. I wasn't here for that. Wow. Okay.
No.
We don't even have a
Just to
trailer
be fair, Rich said that he feels it's going to be the best Phase 4 movie so far. That's what he said.
I heard "Phase of Our Lives."
Yeah.
But I am one of the few that enjoyed Doctor Strange. I saw it with Tony actually. I saw it in the theater.
Yeah,
with
Doctor
Tony.
Strange was good. I like that movie.
I enjoyed
like
Strange.
that movie. Yeah.
I'm
we had a
looking
good
forward
time.
to seeing
Get
it.
it with you.
I like that movie. It was good. But I will say this though, because you said the movies are too different from one another to really judge them. Is that what you said, Joey? Just making sure I understand.
No.
Right?
I'm saying that like certain ones now are starting like too many people are trying to compare them too closely, and I know there's certain differences with some of them, but some of them are looking at it too concrete, like boom, boom, boom. But it's like a little
because I don't know if you were here for this part. Because I agree with what Carlos said. He says the middle of the road Marvel movies are so samey. It's hard to make a proper list. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, at least what I would do was like, here's my top 3. Here's a bunch of shit in the middle in whatever random order, and here's the bottom rung. Because what is the appreciable difference between like this and Ant-Man? It's very, very small. It's like, I rate this 7.8. Oh, I'm going to rate this 7.7. Okay, what's the difference here, really?
Yeah, I feel like I said with like the Winter Soldier and stuff, those golden years. I don't think we're gonna hit that. Again
listen. As far as I'm concerned, As far as I'm concerned, by the way, shout out to Drunken Demon. That's Brian. He doesn't like the slander, the Age of Ultron slander. That's right, Brian. Age of Ultron for life, man. Even though it is the lesser of all the Avengers movies. Nah, chill. You gotta come on, man. Yeah. Anyway, I forgot what the fuck I was gonna say. Oh yeah, Endgame. To me, that's the end of the MCU as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
And this is something I do with comic books too. I'm like, okay, this is the cutoff point. After this, it's just extra stuff. Like to me, Marvel Comics kind of ended after Disassembled, which is in 2003. After that, it's just been like, I don't recognize this company anymore. So to me, I already knew after Endgame, MCU is just gonna be mad whack because the actors are gonna go to different places. They're trying all these characters no one gives a shit about. So and then all this nonsense TV shit is like, okay. You need to give yourself a cutoff point because, like, you saw that Disney thing, right? They announced all. I'm like, who the fuck can keep up with all this stuff? Dana, my condolences to you as an entertainment reporter.
Yes,
it's like Jesus, this is way too much. So to me, I'm like, what I'm gonna do is, I'm just gonna pick and choose my battles. I'll probably still watch most of the movies, but the TV stuff, I'm like, nope, I'm not doing this anymore. It's just way too much. So that's why Endgame to me, because it was the only TV show we really had to contend with that was semi-canon was the one on ABC, right? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? That was the only one.
They don't acknowledge that anymore.
Yeah, like we had the Netflix shows too, but that was still manageable at least. This stuff, it's way too much because even from this movie, you already have like 3 TV series spinning off of it. I don't know how the hell people can keep up with
today's world. We're just oversaturated.
Yeah, that's whole other topic for another day. Right there. But yeah, to me, Endgame. So basically, we had a good 10 years, right?
Yeah,
from 2008 to 2019. Like 11 years. But is that when Endgame came out? 2019, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
2019. Yeah.
So, and I realized that the Spider-Man movie, I think it was the second one, is part of Phase 3. I'm like, no, that's Phase 4.
It's the end.
I bumped that off to the other one. But I agree with you. Marvel MCU will never reach those heights ever again because now think about it, we've had it for like 13 years now. It's not fresh, it's not new. Remember when you saw the first Avengers movie, you were blown the fuck away because you've never seen it. Like, wait, you got characters from 5 different movies in one? Just like the comics. And now we're getting the worst part of the comics. We're like, oh, here we go with the multiverse shit. Oh, here we go with the fucking million characters. Oh, here we go with the million offshoots. So not the MCU had the best aspect of the comics. Now it's taking the worst aspect of comics.
No,
Well,
the ending of that first Iron Man, Nick Fury comes out. I want to talk to you about the
Bro,
Avengers
when you see
Initiative.
that shit, oh my god, yeah. No, I was done.
There was only 5 of them.
I mean,
Yeah.
I will say
Now we
this:
got
it's like
40.
it's like what's that saying? It's like your next idea is never as good as your best idea.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's that this is what they're going through with the MCU. It's they have so much success and they're still churning money. Yeah, exactly, Joey.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
and there's just no way that they can stop. And Endgame is really.
Yeah.
Endgame is really the pinnacle of what they can accomplish.
Exactly. Yeah, and think about it like this: Endgame and Infinity War, they're both the same movie. You know, that's far as I'm concerned. That movie did what the first Avengers did, just bigger. It's like the first Avengers movie was like, here's 5 movies in one. Right now, this was like, yo, here's 20 movies in one. Like you can't top that. It's impossible, and that's why they're going on all these different avenues. Now they got TV shows and all this other stuff. You know, so. But yeah, it's never, like you said, you know, you're never going to be your best. I don't know, man. And Shang-Chi, again, just, you know, going back to that, it's the middle of the road. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said before, all these middle movies, like there's no point in stacking them. They're all around the same. You know, Ant-Man and all this other stuff like that. They're just there. You know.
So
yeah.
I got a few quick things to say. I'm gonna get to Shang-Chi, but I want to respond to a few comments that were made real quickly. So first and foremost, I agree. I piggyback on everything Tony said about Endgame. That was the end of the MCU, because as Tony alluded to, yes, now you have people going to other studios. You have people involved in lawsuits. So yeah, it's definitely different now for those characters and whatever happens forward. So we'll see what happens with Phase 4. But Doctor Strange, we'll see what happens. But I think that will be definitely better than what we've seen so far. So a few quick points. The Age of Ultron comment. Let me just say this. Ultron, whether or not people like the Ultron in the movie, in my personal opinion, and this is controversial. The way Ultron was handled in What If, I thought that was pretty. I thought that was pretty solid. Say what?
I didn't see What If. I'm sorry.
Oh, you didn't see it? Oh, yeah. You got to see it. Dana
will
probably agree.
It's amazing.
Yeah. The way they handled him
in What If,
that was great. That was great. That's one point. The other point I was going to make is as far as y'all mentioned some of the other movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, etc. I want to say this. This may not be related, but it has to be said. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, the game that came out a couple of weeks ago. You need to play that game.
Yes.
Because that story, in my opinion, is better than all of the Guardians movies.
I agree.
And again, what it did for Drax, you didn't see that in a Marvel movie. So you definitely need to see that. Yeah. I would make that recommendation.
Yeah. Brian asked the Eternal spoiler review. Yeah, it did happen. You know, I don't know if we're gonna do like because you know I would like to be on here like in 2 months and do another one, but that's probably useless right now. But because I will see Eternals, even though I'm pretty sure that movie's gonna be fucking trash. You know.
Well, to answer that question, Brian, we are going to do a reaction to it because I want to know what everyone else's opinion was of Eternals when it comes out. I will say what Dana said in the review. The movie looks good on a big screen, but this is not the same level of Dune, and I would not go to a theater to see Eternals. So that has to be said. Now, to get to what was said about Shang-Chi again, I'll just say once again, yes, I agree. A okay movie, not horrible. Some missteps by Marvel with some of the story stuff. But overall, still a decent movie. Would I say that you need to go to a theater to see this movie? Well, you don't need to now because it's on Disney Plus. Do I think that you should subscribe to Disney Plus to see it? I would say there is right now Disney Plus. I believe they're giving away a month free for like the month free, but they also have the deal where you're paying $2 for a month. At that price, it's worth watching. But I don't think you need to keep your subscription to watch it. I have to say that. So, and of course, you know, other people have other ways of watching. You know what I mean? So, do what you do. But yeah,
I do know that Disney Plus is showing Shang-Chi in its IMAX format.
Yes.
And it's aspect ratio, which is what I was waiting for Infinity War and Endgame to release, but now they do it
They
now.
did. They did that.
Now, in 2021, they do it.
Well, I got something to say.
Uh-oh.
What? Oh no! I know what Joey likes. He's got a projector. No wonder,
You got it.
right?
You got
Yeah.
it. You got it.
Because I'll tell you this. Watching IMAX formatted movies on a TV does not look as good.
Yeah.
It's just too cut off. It's too small. And
Yeah.
obviously they work on an IMAX screen. They probably work on a projector at home. But on a regular TV, I'm not a big fan.
Yeah. No, me neither.
So,
And I think I heard Scott Derrickson, the director of Doctor Strange, he said, just putting it out there, he did not approve that Doctor Strange IMAX Disney Plus version.
Oh,
So 13 movies is on Disney Plus and that aspect ratio. He was like, it was not meant to be viewed like that. I didn't do that. And I was like, oh,
boss. I never approved this. Huh?
yeah.
Oh, really?
So I think James Gunn said similar things, but certain directors are speaking out like, yo, I didn't do this.
See,
That's all
and,
Disney.
and that goes along with the narrative of what Tony said. Things are changing now with MCU, so they need to correct that.
Yeah.
okay, so does anyone else have any final sayings? If not, we'll jump into shout-outs. I'm taking this silence as a no.
Yes.
So, basically, anyone have any shout-outs? I know Joey. Do you have anyone to shout out?
Other than my dad on the top
Mhm.
top right over
Shout
there.
out to
And our Twitter, _ Brooklyn Bear.
Mr. Polanco, I know you have a lot of things that you're working with.
I got a couple things. You could check me, Carlos, and Chris over on Throwdown Show. We're on Twitch, YouTube, and literally any podcast app on the planet, man. We've got a good stuff coming. We got the question show coming soon. And those things are always pretty crazy. So stay tuned for that. And obviously, thank you for having me on so I could rant about the bad scene in this movie. I'm like, I gotta get this off my chest. This is crazy.
Mr. Richard Bailey Jr.
Yes, I would like to also give a shout out to the Throwdown crew. We'll be watching Throwdown your questions tomorrow. Shout out to everyone on the panel. Always fun to have these discussions about the movies, for sure. And yeah, as for the Koalition, there's quite a bit of stuff coming next week. It's going to be very busy and very active on the site, so stay tuned. All types of stuff. So some stuff I can't talk about, but stay tuned.
Oh, Mr. Seeley.
Just what Tony said. Check us out on Throwdown, and you can catch me on Twitter at Lunar Diaries.
Oh yeah, I forgot about my Twitter. Romudeth. It's down there. That's the spelling.
It's a number.
George A. Romero.
Yeah, what Chris said about what Tony said. Throwdown. Shout out to everyone here in the panel. Always enjoy catching up with you guys, talking about movies. Even though we talk about good movies, we talk about bad movies. In this case, we talk about a middle of the road movie. It's always good talking about it. So shout out to everyone in this panel, and shout out to everyone listening. And Eurocar9 is my Twitter handle, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Wonderful. And for us over at the Koalition, I can say that we on the 16th, we are doing a Hawkeye press conference. Be part of that. So that will be going up. I can legally say I have seen the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye, and I can legally say that it's a TV show, because you know how everyone else feels like their movies? Like you watch this one actually feels like a grounded TV show that is based in realism, and Richard is like, no.
Can I ask a question?
You can, if I can legally answer.
I just want to know one question. Where does this rank with all the other Marvel shows that we've
That's
seen?
not
So
fair.
Rich,
Because here's the thing.
you can't answer that. That's a hip hop gamer type of question, bro.
That's not fair. But I will say that we already know that this show creates spin-offs.
Mhm.
And because of that, I'm more interested in the direction it could go in with the spin-offs and how it introduces or reintroduces itself back into, remember the Marvel Netflix.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can say that. Yeah. So it's more grounded.
So let me ask Joey's final question. Does his wife show up in any of these first 2 episodes?
Yo,
Thank you
you
for
trying to get
asking the
Dana in
question,
trouble
Noah.
here?
Oh yeah, you can't.
Answer
Okay,
that.
okay. Well, you can't answer that. Okay, all
Can't
right. Well,
answer that.
I gotta know.
all right.
I gotta know.
I can't. Wait a second.
I'm not
It's
watching
called
it.
Hawkeye.
Off air.
You know that.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
But yeah. So we have that. If you love Christmas movies, we got a whole thing over with Lifetime, a bunch of Christmas movies. We also have more movies. Just a whole bunch of things. It's a lot of things. But coming up, we will have the Shang-Chi press conference because in celebration of Disney Day Plus or whatever it's called. Press conference with that. Hawkeye, Vacation Friends, which is over on Hulu with John Cena and Dim. Peacemaker is coming up, so we're working with that. We do also have what is that thing with the tennis and the Will Smith, King
The
Richard.
Serena sisters.
Yes, the Serena sisters. We have
Oh,
that.
no,
That
the
will be
Williams
going
sisters.
up. The Williams sisters, the Serena sisters. We have that also. We have that coming up this week because it releases the 19th. So we have that as well. So yeah, just we got a lot of everything, different mixtures of stuff. So
Nice.
that's basically everything. So thank you so much to everyone who is watching. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, night. Thank you so much for everyone on this panel for joining me to talk about this meh movie. We will see you again later. I know everyone's excited with some Hawkeye. Yay! So have a great and your drunken man is
Shout out to Brian.
Shout out to Brian.
Also, so thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, like I said, and see you next time.
Peace.
Later, people.